Hello, and welcome to Association Transformation. We are now 1 year old. We are more than 40 episodes in, and I'm excited to continue our international conversation, advancing the impact and evolution of nonprofit organizations. My name is Elisa Pratt. I am with Brewer Pratt Solutions here in the DC area, and my normal co-host, Andrew Chamberlain with Consort Strategy, sadly unable to join us today, even though I know I'm your favorite anyway. But I'm excited to have with me my favorite producer, Mr. Andy Carroll with AM&C Media. Andy, thanks for being with me now, not only in front of the mic or behind the microphone, but now in front of the microphone. Thank you.
No problem. It's a dream come true for me.
And your excitement, I mean, it's reverberating. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I can really feel it. It's all right. You're filling Andrew's shoes. They're very small.
Yeah, no, they are tiny.
Very small.
And both left-footed as well. So there you go.
But as you know, we are all about associations, all about nonprofit organizations, and pushing that conversation, pushing the envelope, so that the mission, the members, all of that can come first. And I thought this topic was especially important and perfect for you, Andy. We're talking about audio video. And it may not sound sexy, it may not sound important, but I know. But there really is a power to the visual story that a nonprofit organization can tell. And so I brought with me today, I've invited with me a friend from the States. And I think you're going to like him. I think you guys are going to be two peas in a pod. Kurt Schneid with Brand Ready Media, a longtime friend of mine. Kurt, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Association Transformation.
Lisa, thank you very much for having me. Andy, great to meet you. And I really love this topic. I have a real heart for associations and nonprofits and the work that they do, the missions that they serve, and the members that they have. And so I think this is sexy. This is my world. So
exactly. I know
this.
You guys
Absolutely.
are perfect for this. And I know that you probably more than many appreciate that visual narrative. I mean, you and I first met working with nonprofits on everything from their awards programs and telling the stories of their members to putting a visual and a narrative to their strategic missions. And I know there's been so many opportunities over the years to help nonprofits find that voice and tell their stories. And it's probably more important than ever. I mean, I think about what Instagram and TikTok and, YouTube sounds so old fashioned these days, but, everyone's putting out their visual story, whether it's in 20 seconds or in 20 minutes. And virtual events last year really took us to a place where the online, the visual experience through a screen became the primary avenue for delivering information. What have nonprofits, I don't know, what are they coming to you for these days, Kurt? What are they asking for? What do they think they need in terms of the video component?
We've seen such a nice progression and journey alongside the normal digital transformation that corporate America has experienced. The association world, a little slower to react, but
no, you don't say. How dare you? How dare you?
They've definitely come along, and the pandemic really forced, as you said, the virtual events. Many associations rely upon their conferences and rely upon that annual meeting, the face-to-face. And so we've really seen associations embrace the digital transformation and the visual story. Video is such a powerful medium to not just promote but educate and include and that whether it be a team meeting or a Zoom meeting, the opportunity you have to connect with anybody almost anywhere in the world and see them and hear them. You add to that some special effects, some written word, and some music underneath, and you're able to influence people in ways that you just can't do with a still graphic or an email.
Yeah. Well, and I know, Andy, we've had conversations for the last 12 months now about that potential of the the digital experience and how it can be so much more than a PowerPoint deck. And I know you're a big fan too. What's your focus, and what are clients coming to you for these days?
Well, to start off with, Zoom and Teams and all of that sort of stuff was great, and people got used to that, I think. And but then very quickly, like we all do, you start to look for better production values. You start looking for, the content has always got to be good, number one. So, that's never been any different. Before the pandemic, if the content was poor, it didn't matter how you put it forward, it's going to fall flat. But now what we're doing is we are trying to, as Kurt was saying about this being educational, from our perspective, what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach people this is to up the production values. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach people how to indeed film themselves. For instance, if this is a headshot, if this is a kind of like a talking heads, indeed, there was on the BBC in England. There's obviously the BBC.
Thanks for translating for me, Andy. I appreciate you speaking American for a minute.
Even those guys. So they've had their challenges in order to perform interviews with people around the world, and so what's been happening is that they've been setting up two studios with two cameras, and the setup guys would come in, they'd set everything up, and then the guy being interviewed would sit down on his own, would press the button, and they'd do the same across the pond, and he'd press the button, and there would be this live thing going on. And the production values were absolutely fantastic. No more of this looking up somebody's nostrils, and which is that webinar look that we're all sort of
where you get to see someone's ceiling where you're watching their ceiling the entire time.
Oh
yes,
man.
yes.
And it's so we've kind of taken that on board, and so we're now producing stuff which is being shot locally, then brought to us, and then we're editing it to make it look as if they're almost in the same room. But what we do is we use Zoom as if it's our own virtual self in the room while we're talking to them, and then we're teaching them while we're on Zoom. And it's proving to be it's being kind of relatively successful. But again, Kurt, you've probably experienced this. It can be quite a painful experience, because if they're not used to doing stuff like that, that's the reason why we exist, right? Because we solve that problem for them. We turn up with all our expensive gear. Now we can't do that. So we're buying things for them on Amazon.
and shipping it to them. No, you're absolutely right.
Exactly.
Well, two titans of the digital world, Andy and Kurt Schneid here with us today. And I know that I'm a layman. You guys had to spend 10 minutes helping me fix my microphone and my headphones today. I admit it, that you are there to solve problems. And I don't want to scare associations and nonprofits, especially the smaller ones. I don't want to scare them away. There are so many opportunities to make your virtual and digital experiences more engaging, to help elevate the voices, not only of your leaders, your staff executive, but your mission in general. I want them to feel like you guys are the safe place. You're the ones who are going to make this work out, even if they have no idea how to start. What really is the first step? Is it about defining the pain point, what problem you're trying to solve, or do people just come to you and say, "Hey, we think we need to make a video. Let's go make a video"? I mean, what's the chicken and what's the egg here?
That's an excellent question. There's typically a lot more at play than any organization recognizes. They do often finally say, "Hey, look, we've we've had enough pain. We just want to make a video to solve the pain. And as you look at where they are in their transformation, in their presence, the amount of relationship they're building online with their audiences, you can see that the foundation really needs work. And we oftentimes, before we start making videos that won't serve them well, we have to fix the foundation. And to Andy's point, it comes down to content. Content is always king. Quality content that resonates with your audience, that can cut through the noise that's out there and hit people in the heart with an authentic message that resonates with them is vital. And if they're not, if the associations, if the nonprofits are not speaking to their audience in that manner, then they're destined to shrivel, maybe not go away, but they're missing an opportunity of having a greater love and support. Things that go viral do so because of the way that they impact people. And so often the associations and nonprofits that I get exposed to they're understaffed, they're overworked, maybe they don't know. And so I feel blessed to be able to come in and say, here are the options, and based on your budgets and your timelines and your staff, and here's what's reality for you and what's most effective. You can build on this and win, and some places have more resources and others less, but they do have to start with that pain, with that desire to kind of let go and bring somebody on board that can help.
So what I hear you saying, and where someone might start to piece these baby steps together, this really is about, number one, I think, understanding your audience, and that's probably more true for a nonprofit or an association, a membership association, more important than anyone. We're not just dealing with the general consumer public. We're really looking at a niche audience who either we want to engage or we already have engaged with, that we're trying to increase that engagement. I think you mentioned, message and voice, that content, really knowing what you're trying to say. I'm assuming in the best cases, you're not just telling a story, but there's some kind of call to action there. What does the best messaging include?
I'm a big believer in call to action, a quality CTA of how people can get more involved or where they can find out more. You always want to lead your audience to the next item. Could be the next video, could be the next location online, could be the next live event or virtual event. But you never want to let go. They're going to fall off at some point anywhere. Everybody does. Nobody's going to stay engaged with your content all day long or their entire life. So you have them for a reason or a season. And however long that season is, you want to maximize it. And however impactful they can be to help your mission, to support your team or drive membership, you want to get the most impact out of them as you can.
Yeah. Now, Andy, what's the trick for helping organizations make this scalable? You don't want someone to just come to you and say, hey, we want to do one recording or one video. How does this become part of who they are as an organization? Is it purely about budget? Is it about vision? How do you make sure this isn't just a one and done?
Well, I think it's not really. Sure. There is a budget thing to take into consideration. But it was interesting because my point was going to be that it's really there are so many different ways to communicate with video. So Kurt's, when most people on social media will not spend longer than 60 seconds on something. And so my experience has been with a client, what a client always wants to do is to get as much information as they possibly can into that 60 seconds. And that's a big no-no. So it has to be one thing and get that one message over correctly, whether that's a big CTA for another event. But essentially, people are not going to spend, half an hour listening to a video. because it's just they haven't. That's not what they've signed up for. And this is where we're coming from with social media, is that how many times are we as video producers and as content creators are told, oh man, we've got to produce this thing, but well, okay, show us the bullet points of the content. Oh my gosh, there are 25 things you want to say, and we've got what, 45 seconds. It's just not. So we have to really guide people. And so so in answer to your question, what we would probably say is that we would produce a series of teasers, in a sense, because that's what they are. They're teasing people into something bigger. We're pointing people into something bigger, and that's where we then, we would then point them to a website to watch. They have to want to engage in something longer. Yeah, you can't trick people into thinking, this is just, we just want to quickly say a few things. Then all of a sudden, 5 minutes in, and you're like, oh man, turn it off. So so what we would then do is everything that we produce tends to be modular, so that you can take sections out and then you can release those over a period of, say, 6 weeks. And that's kind of the skill of what we do. I would hope is the fact that we can clearly break that down, so that we can piece different module bits together and make them, even that can be the same content, but if you change it around in different ways, you can make it mean something else.
What I like about Andy's strategy is that it engages people over a long period of time. And even if the audience member is brand new at week 4, say, when they visit the website, people are very much more likely to watch 5 1-minute videos than they are 1 5-minute videos. So if they come in at week 4 for that 1-minute video and they see the previous 3 weeks, they're very likely to say, I like this video. Let me go back and start at the beginning and watch 1, 2, and 3. And I agree with you 100%, Andy.
So how do we focus this into an association and nonprofit environment? Is this about introducing your new board chair to the membership? Is this about the annual renewal campaign? Is this about launching the strategic planning initiative? Is this about celebrating the organization's centennial? What are the either, I guess, opportunities or pain points that associations should look to audio and video production and that heightened digital experience to really amplify? Awards programs, I know. Yeah, I mean, brainstorm with me.
So I really think it comes down, you said heightened user experience. And so let's just unpack, because it all revolves around that. It's all about the membership. So whether it be a nonprofit or a member organization, it's all about that user experience, about the membership experience. The members, what do they get out of it? So you need to provide that quality content that's digestible. Right? To Andy's point, they're not going to watch a 30-minute documentary, even if it's in their industry, but they might engage in a 5-minute, 3-minute kind of educational piece, get that bite-sized, digestible chunk, get the value out of it, and say, being a part of this association really provides me value. It's worth it. It's worth my time, my engagement, my investment. And so delivering that content that gives them something of value. And then if you want to announce the annual celebration, the anniversary, we've been around 50 years, 30 years, whatever the case may be, they're already part of your team. They're already part of your community.
They're already vested.
They are. And it really is about that community. You said, that user experience, heightened user experience, and it's about getting the investment, the engagement, and that sense of community.
And I think Kurt sort of is absolutely right with that, and also you kind of hit Kurt on the concept of give the members what they want, not what you think they need. and that comes from doing something. That comes from doing your research correctly and understanding what those pain points are, and then constructing content around that, because it's all about how can you help them, how can you create and also entertain. Don't forget, what we don't want is, we don't want a CEO sitting there in his boardroom or her boardroom and saying, like the Queen's speech. That's not what we're looking. That's not what we're looking for here. We have to entertain people, because people are used to being entertained. We're living in a world of Netflix
cat videos,
and it's just
tragic.
Everyone needs. We've got our attention span. The general public's attention span, not the general public. I would say everybody is coming down to like 30 seconds.
At most. I think it's down to 6 or 8 seconds. I think it's down much farther than that. But you mentioned something, helping people do their own videos and kind of that man on the street DIY concept. And that's something I really enjoy. And I've proposed to several clients, helping them create a testimonial campaign where the members themselves are sharing what the value proposition is, what the impact on their life or their career or their community has been. How does that take shape? And I'm a big fan of storytelling. I think stories told by the individuals are that much more powerful. And if an organization can harness and leverage the stories told by their members, that you have the most engaging and heartfelt a message and content that you could possibly ask for. Is the DIY, send us a video, do the selfie, is that still a thing? Is that something you advise people to do, or are you literally having to set up the 2 studios? How would you make that work given current, technology?
I think it can be part of a strategy. There's no one answer that is the solution to any association or any organization's issue. I think third-party validation is incredibly impactful. If you can start with a hook and then get the audience to identify with that character and show the challenge and then the triumph of that challenge, you get a story that's compelling. I mean, that's like storytelling 101, right? So I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right? But
breaking news, storytelling with Association Transformation.
But it is important that if you have a DIY testimonial, that they include that they include the hook, that they include the character development, so that the audience can go, oh, I resonate with this person, even if it's not the same gender or the same background. It doesn't matter, as long as you can get in that character's shoes, face the fear, face the challenge that they face, and then hear how they overcame that challenge. And you get what we consider a story that's worth listening to. They can be very powerful, but it's not the end all to be all. There are other things that need to happen. I agree with Andy. It's not about telling them what you think they need. It really starts with giving them what they want. They have to self-identify that this content is relevant and interesting to them. Once you get them on board, then you can, not trick, but you can give them other content that they need. It's kind of like, I know you want dessert, but you have to eat your vegetables. So here's a bite of dessert, eat some vegetables. Here's another bite of dessert, eat your vegetables. And audiences can be like that sometimes.
That's right. Now, we talk about stories and storytelling. Kurt, you are an international man of mystery, I've discovered today, and I'd love to ambush you with a little personal story. Tell us a little bit about where you've spent time. I know you're just down the street from me now, as a grown-up, but where have you been in the world?
I attended high school in northern New Jersey where I was an environmental activist and am credited with getting the McDonald's Corporation to stop using polystyrene styrofoam food packaging. I don't know if you remember back in the
Are you
80s.
serious?
Yeah, I was Ronald McToxic. I spoke at the United Nations twice.
My God.
Yeah,
Stop it.
yeah. I spoke at the United Nations twice, and was in Time magazine, and it was kind of what launched me into media. At that point, I was really in front of the camera, but it was all the videos that we made and all the media that we made that made that campaign successful. And so, as I went into college, I studied at Marshall University out in Huntington, West Virginia, and won some awards there, and they sent me to Cambridge, England on a broadcast exchange, and the football team there found out that I played high school football, so they recruited me to play American football at Cambridge University.
In Cambridge. Oh my God.
And so that was a highlight of my life, and that led me here to the George Washington University Documentary Film Institute, and I finished top of my class there and was awarded a slot at the Discovery Channel as an associate producer. So that's my life story in a minute.
Wow.
There you go.
International man of mystery, a mystery no more. Now we know. Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So, Andy, you do not have to translate for Kurt. You can just speak straight British to him.
Well, I hesitate to think that people in Cambridge speak English.
Careful.
No, I'm only kidding. But interestingly, Kurt, with your when you were in Cambridge, you're talking about the McDonald's thing in terms of generating content for that. Were you doing things like guerrilla content? Sort of.
Ooh, what's that?
Which is essentially doing stuff secretly. And filming in shops, and was it edgy? Was it how did that manifest itself?
We were young, and so we started by doing a letter writing campaign, and we organized a Operation Send It Back, where we would still eat at the McDonald's restaurant. We would collect the styrofoam, wash it, and then once a month we would have a rally, and we would deliver it all back to be recycled. And that was our agreement with the Amoco Chemical Company that partnered with McDonald's Corporation to produce styrofoam, was that if we would participate in a recycling program. And then to your point, there was the guerrilla moment where one of our cameramen filmed the McDonald's people throwing the styrofoam in the trash in the dumpster rather than recycling it, and that hit the media, and so it was on ABC and NBC, and that was the power. It was like, here, that started the boycott, and the boycott went international, and it was just kind of a little local thing that some high school kids were doing, and next thing I know, there are limos showing up at the house to take us into Manhattan to be on TV, and my mom bought me a new suit, and it was... It just kind of grew on its own, but a lot of people put a lot of work into that, and we're very proud of the reduction of the carbon footprint that we've been able to.
That's superb.
Create.
That's superb, and that to me is the very fact that so there's several things happening there. One is obviously there is a cause which people can recognize and want to be part of. But also, there's concepts and ideas and content being generated from that idea, and that's why that becomes successful, is because you're delivering to people what they want to see. They want to see heroes championing the where you think you can't beat somebody, and that's, if you think about that just in storytelling and watch any film structure, the successful film structure is the underdog winning, and that I love to hear those stories.
Well, it's such a perfect demonstration of using visual to advance a mission. And that's really what echoes back to the nonprofits and to the associations, the power of not just that journalistic change, guerrilla, I learned the new term, guerrilla video today, but, the chance to give voice to that visual story in a way that words and slide decks and a guy standing at the podium never could. So such great
There are
opportunity.
audience members out there for all of the associations and nonprofits. They were started with a mission, with a reason, and there are other people that will resonate with them. They just don't know that you exist yet. Right? And so I encourage all of our clients and people that we meet with to make videos, to put content out there, to share your message, your core values, because there are people out there that will resonate with that, and they're looking for you. And make yourself visible so that you can be seen and that you can be partnered with and you can be supported. We are much stronger together than we are individually, and there's a lot of good missions out there to accomplish.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I feel a bromance brewing here, so I'm excited to.
He's a good-looking guy.
I'm excited to have connected the two of you. But Kurt Schneid, Brand Ready Media, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with us and sharing not only your amazing and impressive background, but that potential for nonprofits to embrace the power of visual and video. Andy, of course, thank you for being my guy, being producer, and now stepping in front to co-host with me today. I very much appreciate it, and your expertise in this space as well. So thank you both. This is something I don't think people are talking about enough in a way that lets associations know it's not scary. It doesn't have to be. It's a plausible path for action, and it's something that even in small bites, that even small and medium nonprofits can undertake and use these tools to their advantage. So thank you so much to everyone out there. We thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. We'll welcome you back. Send us any topics you'd like us to research. And if you'd be interested in joining us on Association Transformation, you can email us at hello@yourconsort.com or tweet us at Association Transformation, and we'll draw upon our audience's ideas and those networks to bring you the best international association-focused conversation possible. If you've enjoyed listening, you can find Association Transformation wherever you get your podcasts. Make us one of your favorites. And until next time, stay well and put your members and your mission first.
Association Transformation is brought to you in partnership between Consort Strategy and Brewer Pratt Solutions in support of the Institute of Association Leadership.